¿Cómo está? ¿Cómo le ha
How
ido?
are you?
Comienza
Have
la
you
jugada
been?
crítica
We
de
begin
Telesur
critical
y
moves
se
of
reaviva,
Telesur.
digamos que una
Well,
histórica
there is a
disputa
historic
entre
dispute that
Israel
has
y el
begun again
Líbano por
between
una zona marítima
Israel
que
and
raya en
Lebanon.
fronteras.
This is
La razón,
a maritime
petróleo en las
border
profundidades.
place.
¿Qué argumentan las partes?
What do the
Afirman
parts
que
say?
respectivamente
What are their
la zona les
arguments?
pertenece.
They both say that
¿Cuenta el
this
Estado
place
sionista
belongs to
con la
them.
debida reputación
Does
para que la
Israel have
comunidad
the
internacional
reputation for the
crea
international
en su
community to
supuesta
believe
soberanía sobre
in
esa
their
franja de
alleged
mar? ¿Qué intereses
sovereignty?
geopolíticos
What are
están
the
sobre la mesa?
geopolitical interests on this piece
Desplegamos
of
el
land?
tablero. Comienza la
Let's
jugada.
see more information, and this is our topic for today.
La noticia es que el gobierno
Well, the
libanés
news is that the
prepara las
Lebanese
condiciones
government
para, tras demarcar
start the
10 bloques
conditions
hidrocarburíferos
to
en su
go
costa,
after 10 blocks
iniciar la
of
explotación de petróleo y gas con participación de
of
compañías
plants for
extranjeras.
gas and oil.
Israel prevé lo propio
Israel
y
is
lo
going to
hace
do the same
dándole
thing,
participación a su eterno
and they're going
aliado,
to give them some
Estados Unidos, que
participation with
además
an
de
ally,
ofrecerse como mediador
with
en
their
el
ally,
conflicto abierto,
which is
se
the
ofrece para
USA.
montar plataformas de extracción en
And of
esa
course, the
zona.
US is going to put
¿Qué
the money.
reacciones se escuchan?
What are the reactions that we
Aquí les
hear?
presento algunas.
We're going to list, these are some.
Grandes compañías nos han
Great
visitado
companies
y
have
otras están
visited
por
us,
venir.
and
Estamos
others are
hablando
about
de
to come.
Gazprom,
This
Lukoil,
is
y
Gazprom.
se espera que
Pronto.
nos visite la firma BP. También
BP
hay
is also
intereses
going to
de
come.
Total,
There are also
Eni y
interests of
Novatek.
Total,
Todas
Eni, and
esas grandes
Initech.
empresas
All of
están
these big
interesadas
companies
en
are
invertir.
interested in investing.
Tenemos grandes
We
esperanzas
have
con
great
esta industria.
hopes
Sin
with this
embargo,
industry.
no
However,
podemos adelantarnos
we
a
cannot
los
go ahead
acontecimientos.
to
Es por
the
eso que hemos
to
acelerado
all
el
of the
proceso
events.
de la
This is why
licencia
we've gone
para aumentar
faster
la
with the
perforación
license
de petróleo y
and
gas
be able
para
to
hacer más
do the
descubrimientos.
exploration and
Lo que está
perforation
claro hasta ahora
as
es
soon
que
as
hay un
possible.
resultado
What's clear
positivo.
is
Los
that there is a
libaneses
positive
se
result and
beneficiarán
that the
pronto de
Lebanese
este
will
acuerdo.
benefit
Este sector
fast from
abre
this
la puerta
sector.
a muchas inversiones
This
y muchas
opens many
oportunidades.
other investments and opportunities.
Cuando un enviado estadounidense,
When a
un
special
amigo de
envoy,
Israel, se
a
preocupa
friend
por
of
Israel, nos visita para
of
negociar con
Lebanon,
los
they
ingresos de petróleo, gas
they
y las
want to
fronteras. Los
negotiate
libaneses deben conocer y comportarse
about
desde una
petroleum
posición
and
fuerte,
oil.
una posición capaz de defender
They
su
should
petróleo,
know
gas,
that
tierra,
Lebanon
mar
has
y
a
sociedad.
strong position.
Bueno, ahí estaban
Well,
las declaraciones, ¿no?
These are
¿Qué
the
intereses
declarations. What are the
geoeconómicos? Preguntamos además,
economic
persigue el Líbano al
interests?
enfrentar esta
What is
disputa por el
Lebanon?
denominado
What
bloque
is
9
Lebanon trying to
con
do?
Israel? ¿Qué mueve a este país
What moves
a
this
explotar
country
sus
to
reservas hidrocarburíferas?
exploit
También
their
lo revisamos.
hydrocarbon reserves? Lebanon has confronted economic difficulties for years, partly for the political crisis that comes year after year of the wars they've had, and also because Syria has their neighbors have many refugees that have flocked to Lebanon. So this state of war has not allowed them to pursue all of the richness of oil. They think that $100 billion could be obtained if all of the marine exploration projects could go forth. In this case, Lebanon is opening their doors to foreign investments. Some have shown interest in Block 4 and 9 after signing some agreements in 2018. Let's see digital websites. Let's begin with our own, which is Telesur, that says the following. It says Lebanon says that there might be some eventual war with Israel. Look how the context that is merely economic goes a little bit beyond. There might even become a war. And Lebanon is blaming Israel for whatever may happen. The president of Lebanon has promised a defense to the continuous violation to the integrity of their territory. The tensions between Lebanon and Israel have become worse in August 25th when two unmanned airplanes were over their territory. One of them exploited one in front of the Lebanon Hezbollah movement, and the other one was detained. Then Hezbollah answered these attacks by launching some anti-tank tanks to where they hit and hurt the militaries that were on this tank. So Ispan TV also has this information saying Israel takes advantage of the militarism of the U.S. to attack Lebanon. The famous Qasem Soleimani highlights the presence of the U.S. military in the Middle East after the September 11, 2001, because this all benefits Israel. The regime tries to take advantage of the situation. They think that this would be the best occasion to carry out a war, a fast attack, because in the year 2000 they had already lost in Lebanon and they had fled. This is how on Tuesday the commander spoke about this incident. What can we give you as a recommendation? We tell you to read this new war between Lebanon and Israel is being carried out beneath the water. Let's go into details. The discoverment of the major gas reserves found in the past 10 years in their own beaches imply a drastic change of the economies of the two countries that up until now depended on the importation of energetic resources. This may allow them to be self-sufficient, which is very important in Israel, because right now they have no relationship with of their neighbors. This is something that we have to take into account for the following analysis. The existence of these oil reserves is known for some years, but just up until now, when the technology allows us to go down and further down depth to the land, the countries are going to the battle for these resources. And here is where the conflict begins, because the limits are not clear on the pass by Lebanon, and this makes them susceptible to be stolen. Let's pay attention to this last word. Lebanon doesn't give up on their dream to be independent in the energetic field. So what has happened that has marked the history? This we'll leave it after the pause. But before we go to the pause, I want to set a question that we have set on our Twitter account. Here it is. It says, Israel disputes Lebanon, a cone of sea near the frontier of Palestine, that has a lot of reserves of oil and gas. The United States apparently is a mediator in this conflict, but it also offers himself to extract these hydrocarbons. What are the interests here? We are through Telesur, and after these messages, we'll be back. You saw that map that we saw on the screen? Well, that's a map that will help us to locate geopolitically just beyond just the geographic aspects. Let's do a timeline now that goes through the events that have marked this conflict between Lebanon and Israel. The first aggressions of Israel to Lebanon go back to the 70s. In 1978, Israel carried out the Litan event. This was an occupation in front of the river of the same name. More than 1,000 civilians died. Israel retrieved from there, but there was a security line. 1982, Israel went again over Lebanese territory, and they had control over the capital. This operation was called Peace for Galilee. However, in 1987, they withdrew, but at the place they left 1,000 soldiers. In 1993, there was an operation called rendition of money. More than 50 Lebanese died. In 1996, during 16 days of attacks, there was grapes of wrath, where over 200 people died, and the Israeli troops just left in the year 2000. More than 1,000 attacks on the airstrip were registered. In 2016, there was the War of the 33 Days. That was the defeat of the Lebanese troops. They were trying to recover Lebanese soldiers. The Lebanese triumph was seen as one of the most glorious moments of the recent history. It heightened the image of Sayed Khandan as one of the leaders that were able to give an attack to Israel. Then they used phosphorus against the But before we go to the analysis, I would like to locate this place. Block 9, a dispute zone between Lebanon and Israel. Lebanon, that's officially the Republic of Lebanon. It has 10,400 square kilometers. It has the Mediterranean Sea, to the south with Israel, to the north with Syria. The capital is Beirut, that is in the middle of the country, and it becomes a strategic place. It is surrounded by mountains, and it has at its door it has the Mediterranean. Lebanon has one of the largest development index. It is the 7th most important country in the Eastern world. Under the water, there could be much more barrels of gas than up until now that they've exploited. Up until now, they have 660 millions of barrels, but there could be 850. However, there is a cone that is being disputed. This is part of the Block 8 and 9, and it is asked by Israel. It is 1.2 and 1.9 thousand miles beneath the sea. This is recognized as a Lebanese zone according to the international law. Israel says that this declaration doesn't the same with 2007 that was signed in 2007. According to the maritime limits. Up until now, they're just threats, but the tension between Beirut and Tel Aviv could explode at any minute if any of the parts decides to do something dumb. Selling the gas could help the Lebanese country to get over their foreign debt that's one of the largest in the world because it's unpayable. Well, let's start this analysis. We have two experts. I'm sorry if I was not able to pronounce your name. Both of you, we greet you. Let's start with Aritz. Aritz, your first vision of what has happened and that apparently has been said by the Western media, that is nothing more than a dispute between two countries. What do you think? Well, before anything, I would like to thank you for the invitation. Well, I don't think this is just a simple dispute. It goes beyond. In fact, what is at play is the future of both countries. Because we have to recall that Israel has been a country that's been isolated and dependent energetically
Kurdistán iraquí, por Turquía, por Estados Unidos, por Rusia, energéticamente mantenido por
And
esos países.
they've had dependency on other countries. Well, this new opportunity of being able to extract energetic resources, they could now produce enough.
Los que no quieren la existencia de esta entidad sionista
And
y el aplastamiento al pueblo palestino, entonces en este ambiente de hostilidad
in this
para
hostility,
Israel es vital.
for Israel, it's vital to have this source of resources.
O del gas natural. Y para Líbano vendría a ser
And
lo
for
mismo.
Lebanon, it's the same thing.
Tenemos que
Lebanon,
recordar
we have to
que viene,
recall
pues, de tener una
that
estructura
comes from having a structure
productiva casi nula
that is
y solamente
almost
se ha
non-existent.
estado, pues, produciendo lo que
And they've
sería
only
el
produced
refinamiento del
the
petróleo que
refinery
venía
of the
desde Irak,
petroleum that came from
desde
Iraq.
refinerías que ahora están
These
completamente
refineries that are
obsoletas y
totally
no sirven para nada.
obsolete and are not
Entonces,
working
para
anymore.
Líbano,
So for
como bien
Lebanon,
apuntabais, con una deuda
as you
externa,
said,
pues,
with a
de
foreign
las
debt
más altas del mundo,
of among the
es
largest
clave
in the
también
world, this is key for
el
them
poder hacer mano y echar cuenta de sus recursos energéticos.
to be able to use their own energetic resources. So this is not just a mere dispute. This is goes much deeper. So these are very strong interests. Aris, stay with us. We're going to ask our other guests. How do you see this apparent dispute that Aris just explained to us so eloquently? Well, greetings to everybody. Well, I think that we have to do a further analysis of what's going on in Lebanon. We always have to recall that we are speaking of a government that is a genocide. Israel is not fighting for their own territory. They're fighting for a territory that belongs to Palestine, to occupied Palestine. How could somebody who steals try to take back something of what they stole before? So I think we have to be clear in this occupation. We can't say that this is a conflict between two countries that are legally recognized in the world when this is not so. Here, who has total control over these lands is Lebanon, because Israel is not recognized. They are within some stolen territory, and this has not been concluded yet with the Palestinian people. Well, yes, we spoke about this before. How legitimate is this claim of the Israeli government? Well, let's say the state of Israel, not to say government. In this dispute, how legitimate is their claim? Because, as you well said, when this is a zone that was stolen from Palestine. Exactly. It's totally illegitimate. Because as far as we understand, the limits were established in 1977. And they were clearly set. But Israel has not respected any of this. So they keep on taking over Palestine. And up until recently, they wanted to take over the Golan, take it away from Lebanon. So we can't speak of any legitimacy. They can't claim anything that's not theirs. So here is where the world and the international law have to come in and determine clearly where Israel is, what place should they locate themselves. Because the Palestinian problem would have ended if Israel would have respected the 97 limits. And up until now, they keep on taking over the lands of Palestine. And now they're trying to do it. They're trying to do it against Lebanon. But we have to be clear in this, is that at the moment, the forces have changed. And they will find Hezbollah again. And Hezbollah has proven to be strong again. And it's not going to be easy for Israel to go in and take over an Arab land. There are people of the resistance that are willing to defend it. Hezbollah and Lebanon are very well weaponed, which is not the same as the Palestine, because with Palestine they just abuse every day. But it's totally different with Hezbollah and Lebanon. Well, we were listening at the beginning of our program. We said, well, the Lebanon, we're going to get much together with this topic, and we will not allow Israel to take over our natural resources. I'm going to go back to Aritz to have a reflection on something that is not minor, which is the presence of the United States, always as an ally of Israel. And apparently now they present themselves as a mediator. However, they have interests there. Well, this is so fake. The United States always presents themselves as a mediator between the parts, but it always has a position with one of the parts. In this case, it's with Israel, and they've done it for decades. So they're totally discredited. And this position of mediator is not true. Now we have to recall that these prospections, that Lebanon is part of 10 blocks, but Israel has 19 blocks. If there should be some confrontation, it would be over the block 9. If Israel has 5 or 6 years of advantage on Lebanon, this is crucial, and it would have been impossible without the support of the United States in the creation and production of these extractions of oil. So of course it could be a mediator, but who has given Israel all of this power is the U.S. So in this alleged conflict, which is not a conflict, it's an usurpation, it's taking over. Well, the United States has been crucial because it has been who has enabled the creation of this industrial complex that's so powerful of Israel against Lebanon. That we should also mention other actors that are not clearly seen. For example, Saudi Arabia, that has been who once and again has paralyzed all of the attempts of the creation in the energetic field. Saudi Arabia has paralyzed Lebanon and the United States. So the viewer could ask themselves, Saudi Arabia, why is Saudi Arabia threatened if Lebanon develops their reserves? Because Saudi Arabia has their own respectful resources. Well, their position is that they're afraid to lose influence in the Middle East and in the Arab countries. On behalf of who? Of Iran. When the resistance axis that is made up of Lebanon and Hezbollah, then this is a counter position
y al supremacismo israelí en la
and to
zona,
the
pero también contra,
and to the Israeli
contra la
supremacy
hegemonía estadounidense
and against the
y su
hegemony of
vasallo,
the
que es
U.S.
Arabia Saudí, ¿no? El centinela de Estados Unidos en la zona. Entonces, Arabia Saudí lo que intenta es,
And what Saudi Arabia is
por una
trying to
parte, no
do
mermar pues sus ventas,
is
pero a
not
la
to
vez
diminish their
que
sales,
no puedan
but at the same time
desarrollarse
that
aquellos
they
países
can't
que
develop
luego
themselves
puedan ser independientes o incluso contrarios
and
a
develop
sus
other
políticas,
countries
¿no?
that could
Porque
be
debemos de
that could
recordar
get stronger
que Arabia
and later
Saudí
be
es uno de
opposing
los
to their policies.
potenciadores del mal llamado acuerdo del siglo
Let's not forget
de
that they
Israel
were
y
part
Estados
of the
Unidos en
agreement
contra
of the
del pueblo
century
palestino, ¿no?
against the
Arabia Saudí
Palestinian people.
que puede ser un país referente
This
o
could be
importante en
a
el mundo
country
árabe, pero es
that could be
totalmente
important in
integrada
the
a los
Arab
intereses
world.
de Israel y de Estados Unidos.
Aritz, mantente hasta el final con
Aritz,
nosotros.
let's stay with us,
Siempre
please.
nuestro eslogan, ¿no? En la jugada crítica. Antonio, vemos entonces que hay
Antonio,
como una posible
so we see
reconfiguración de la
a
geopolítica en el
possible
mundo árabe,
reconfiguration
si
of the
finalmente
geopolitics
en
in the
Líbano,
Middle
se le
East
respeta su
if
soberanía sobre
Lebanon
esta
is
porción. Ya
finally
mencionaba Aritz, por ejemplo,
respected in its sovereignty.
cuán amenazada se ve Arabia Saudí.
We were
En
speaking on
caso de
how
que
Saudi
Líbano se
Arabia
le
feels
conceda
threatened
luz verde, o sea,
if
digamos
Lebanon
que se presenta, utilizando un término muy popular, un
receives
pleito ante cortes internacionales, gana Líbano porque tiene la razón sobre su soberanía marítima y comienza a desarrollar,
and Lebanon
porque ya
begins to
vemos,
develop,
a una de las autoridades decirlo, no, estamos recibiendo a compañías
then we are
extranjeras,
receiving
se están
foreign
estableciendo
companies.
consorcios. Desde el año pasado, por ejemplo, se firmaron no pocos contratos con compañías
There were
extranjeras,
several
y
companies
bueno,
with foreign
comienza la
companies, so
explotación en la zona.
the exploitation
Estados Unidos,
begins.
vamos a decir
So
que se
United
abstiene
States
respetando el derecho internacional,
would respect
cosa
the
que no se pone
international
en
law
duda,
or
evidentemente,
not,
y se va como que fortaleciendo esa nación.
and
¿Cómo
this
pudiera ser
nation would
entonces
be
la
fortified.
reconfiguración del mundo árabe con este hecho?
Mira, cuando nosotros
Well,
hablamos de
when we speak of Israel,
Arabia Saudita y
Saudi
Estados
Arabia,
Unidos,
and the United
hablamos
States,
de un
we speak
consorcio del mal,
of a
de un
consortium
consorcio
for
de
the
países
bad,
usurpadores
for the
que solamente
evil,
trabajan para
that only work
favorecer a
to
Estados
favor the
Unidos.
United States.
Cuando el Líbano empiece a
When Lebanon
fortalecerse,
starts to
no
begin
es que no va a
stronger,
tener amenazado a Israel.
it's not that it's
Israel sabe muy bien
it's
lo que
gonna threaten
lo que
Israel.
sucede cuando trata de meterse con un país,
Israel knows exactly what happens when
digno y
they
un orgullo del
when
pueblo
they
árabe
mess
en este momento como
with
el
a
Líbano.
proud country
El
like
que se siente
Lebanon.
amenazado es Arabia Saudí,
They know
porque
that
ahí
then
vendrán a ser la contrafuerza
Saudi
en
Arabia
todo lo que es,
will be
hablando
stronger.
económicamente, ¿no? Entonces se va a potenciar y al mismo tiempo va a empezar a potenciar.
So there will be
¿Por qué no decirlo? A volver
will
a
becoming
ver
strong,
los países que supuestamente
and these
Estados
countries
Unidos en tiempos de,
that were
atrás ha
weak
llevado la democracia,
are
como
going to become
Libia,
strong,
como
like Libya,
como-
Iraq,
como Siria,
Syria,
y junto con Irán y
and along with
Líbano,
Iran
pienso
and
yo que en este
Lebanon.
momento
I think that
son
this
los,
moment
abanderados de la resistencia
are the
árabe
calls for to
contra
be the
el usurpador que
representatives
está en la zona.
of the Arab world.
Bien, Antonio, finalizamos entonces
Thank you
con
very much,
Aritz,
Antonio. Let's finish
preguntándole
with
lo
Aritz.
siguiente. Aritz, ¿no estaría corriendo el
Don't you
Líbano
think that
ningún
Lebanon
riesgo
might
al
be
pactar
might
con
be having
compañías
any
como la
threat
francesa Total, la
when they have an
británica
agreement
BP,
with Total
o
or
sea, abriéndole las
BP,
puertas
which
a
is
este
the
tipo de
British,
inversores
if they
extranjeros que
open
para
their
nadie es un secreto,
their
de
markets
antaño
to these
también
two
han pactado
countries?
con países como Estados Unidos?
Sí, lo malo
Yes,
de todo
well,
esto es
the
que
bad part of all this
hoy para estas medidas
is
incipientes,
that
¿no?
these
de
incipient
empezar a crear
measures
ese tejido
to start to
productivo,
create this
necesita
this
de
productive
empresas de este
structure,
tipo,
they
Intentó
need
en
these
su día
types of
contactar
companies.
con otras firmas
So now to
extranjeras, por
contact with
ejemplo,
other foreign
rusas y
companies
chinas, pero en
like
principio
the Chinese
mostraron, mayor interés. Luego también es verdad
that-
que es un gobierno
that showed
que-
major interest.
un país que ha estado sin gobierno durante
Then we must
durante
understand
años,
that
¿no?
it's a
Entonces,
country that has
no
no government for years already.
Para que, por ejemplo,
So let's see that everything they've had to do.
El presidente Hariri,
For example, the
de la
coalition
Coma
of
de Estados
President
Unidos y Arabia
Habibi,
Saudí, para que accediese a
and
emprender,
for him to for the president of the U.S.
en este sentido,
to start
han
taking
tenido
measures in
que,
this sense,
pues, firmar y pactar
they've
con-
had to
con empresas de
agree
este tipo,
with
porque si
these
no,
type of companies
se negaban a hacer-
because
a hacer
otherwise
eso,
they did not want to do
debido
so.
a haciéndolo desde hace años y antes lo comentábamos. Entonces, ¿es contraproducente?
So
Bueno,
it's counterproductive.
En cierta manera sí que lo es. A
In a
medio
way they
plazo,
are.
pero hoy por hoy, a
But
nada
now-
que puedan empezar a hacer las prospecciones y los estudios pertinentes, es positivo.
This is
Porque eso que
positive,
está ganando el
because
Líbano,
what
y el día de
Lebanon is
mañana
now earning,
podría enviar a esas
then
firmas
they could
pues,
send it to
supranacionales
these international
a otro
companies.
sitio y empezar a seguir pues con otras, porque la inversión al principio
Because
en la
the
zona,
investment at the
en el
beginning
inicio incipiente pues es pues muy fuerte, ¿no? Y
is
estas
really
empresas
high.
pueden suplir
And these
pues,
companies
esos gastos sin ningún problema. Otra cosa será a largo plazo si
could
no
pay
será
for this with no
un
problem.
estorbo más que un beneficio. Pero bueno, los libaneses
So the
saben
Lebanese
bien de
know
sobra con
perfectly
quiénes
well
están tratando
who are they
y sobre
working with.
todo pues el eje que está pues
And
con
above
Ayun
all,
o incluso con el Hezbollah. Entonces saben bien de sobra con quién están tratando y seguro que van a
and of course they know well who they're
pues con una
working
cuerda
with.
muy corta, ¿no? Y los van a vigilar.
and they're probably going to have them on a short leash.
¿Cuál será el momento exacto de
So,
mandarlos de regreso a casa, por decirlo de
Let's
alguna
see
manera,
what the exact
educar?
moment is to
Millón de
take them
gracias
back
por este
home.
análisis. También le agradezco
Thank
a
you for
Antonio
your
su
analysis.
participación en nuestro programa. Ambos los despido.
To
Hasta muy
both of
pronto.
our guests. Hope to see you
Marcamos
soon.
entonces otra
Let's
pausa en
go to a
nuestra jugada
pause
crítica sobre esa
and
política expansionista de
let's
Israel
speak when we
en el Oriente Medio a lo largo de estos años. Mis invitados
of Israel
complementaban el
throughout the
apoyo
years.
que le han facilitado otras potencias en la ocupación de territorios árabes. Vamos a hablar cuando estemos de vuelta.
When we're
Tengo
back,
otro
this is what
invitado
we're going to be
en
talking
curso.
about.
Con él vamos a ver justamente ese pulso geopolítico que se está estableciendo con este fenómeno de aparente disputa entre
And
países,
there is a
un país,
dispute
un
between
estado,
two countries.
a lo que hay mucho más allá. Estamos indagando en nuestra jugada crítica.
We'll be
compañeros.
right back.
Estamos de vuelta
We're back.
y tal como le prometíamos
And just
antes de la
as we
pausa,
said before
nos
the
preguntamos
pause,
cómo
we
ha
asked
sido la
ourselves,
política expansionista
how
de
has
Israel
been
en
this
el Medio Oriente, digo, a
expansionist
lo largo de estos
policy
años, qué
of
otras
Israel
potencias
throughout
le han
history?
facilitado al Estado
What
sionista
other
la
powers
ocupación
have
de
helped
territorios
Israel for
Los
this
invito
to
a repasar.
happen? Let's go over it.
Desde la creación del Estado
Ever
de
since the
Israel, el
creation
14
of the
de
State
mayo
of
de
Israel
1948,
in May
ha
of
desplegado una
1948,
política
it has shown an
expansionista
expansionist
en la región con fuerte ayuda de Estados
policy with the
Unidos.
help
Ya
of the
desde un primer
U.S.
momento,
Since the
Israel
first
ocupó las
moment
ciudades de
Israel took
Haifa y
over the
Lod.
cities of
En
Haifa
1948,
in
en solo 10
1948,
días,
and in
las
only in
fuerzas
10 days,
israelíes
the
ocuparon la
forces
ciudad
of Israel
árabe de
took
Rana
over
bajo control
Ananda,
egipcio. Desde
that
el
was
12 de julio de
in the
ese año,
control
el momento
of
en que inició la
Egypt,
ocupación, se niega a devolverla.
and they will not
Las
give it back.
fuerzas sirias y
The
libanesas
Syrian
perdieron
forces
Nazaret y una
lost
amplia zona de la
Nazareth
Galilea.
and a
El
great
29 de octubre de
great amount of
1956,
Galilee.
Israel invadió el Sinaí
And
y envió
Israel
una
took
misión
over
para
the
realizar un
Sinai
despliegue en la Franja de Gaza,
and
territorio
over
hasta entonces
the
era
Gaza Strip
controlado
too,
por
that
Egipto
up until
tras el
then was
armisticio
controlled
luego de los
by
enfrentamientos de
Egypt.
1949. En julio de 1967,
In
con
July
la
of
Guerra de los Seis
1967
Días,
was the
Israel
War of the Six
conquistó
Days, and Israel took
Cisjordania y la
over
Franja de Gaza y comenzó a
the
establecer
Gaza
colonias
Strip
civiles en el
and the
territorio
West Bank.
ocupado. En octubre de
In
1973
October of
se desarrolló la guerra del
1973,
Yom Kippur o
there
guerra
was
del
the Yom
Ramadán,
Kippur
fue cuando los
or
ejércitos de
Ramadan
Siria y Egipto
War.
intentaron recuperar
This
los
is when
territorios ocupados por el
the
Estado
countries
sionista
were trying
luego
to
de la
take
Guerra de los
back
Seis
their
Días. En
their
1982
lands from
fue
Israel.
la
In
primera guerra del
1982
Líbano.
was
El
the first
conflicto se
Lebanese
desató
war,
luego de que
and the
tropas
conflict was
israelíes incursionaran
unleashed
en el
after
sur del país, que ha sido
Israeli
víctima
forces
sin
was
fin de
in the
intentos de
territory.
invasión por parte de Tel Aviv
They've
desde
tried
la
to take
Operación
over Tel
Italia en
Aviv for many years.
1978.
Bueno, pues de eso vamos a hablar a
Well, this
continuación
is what
con
we're going to be
Jean-Paul
talking
Metz,
about with
internacionalista, que
Jean
nos
Paul
acompaña aquí
Metz,
al estudio. ¿Cómo está,
who's
Jean-Paul?
an
Muy bien,
expert in
gracias.
international
Jean-Paul, con este prontuario que
aspects.
tiene Israel en la zona,
With all of this history that
¿cuán legítimo puede ser
Israel
esta
has
demanda
on their
que
backs,
le he planteado
how
allí?
legitimate is this
Sí,
attempt?
tenemos que Israel
Well, we
ha
have that
tenido una
Israel
historia de
has had
expansiones muy agresivas
a
para con
story
todos sus
of
vecinos y
expansions
de
that
una
have been
relación
very
bastante
aggressive.
conflictiva. Incluso el propio establecimiento del Estado de Israel
In
fue
fact,
una
the
imposición en su
establishment
momento de
itself
los
of
pensadores
the
de la Segunda Guerra
Israeli
Mundial
Israeli government wasn't in position
que
on
una
its own.
búsqueda de autogobierno del propio pueblo que estaba allí, que era el pueblo palestino.
Because let's not forget
Y
that the
entonces
Palestinians were there
tenemos
before.
que las expansiones israelíes
So,
por tierra
the-
llevaron a cabo una serie
The
de
Israeli
enfrentamientos armados,
expansions
pero
took
por
to
mar
armed
también ha habido-
conflicts,
ha
but there's
habido
been
situaciones como
also on
el
the
hecho de que
sea.
Israel está explotando los yacimientos de gas en
Because
aguas
now they were trying
internacionales
to
palestinas
to take over the
pertenecientes
gas
concretamente a la
of
zona de la Franja de
Palestinian
Gaza.
areas.
Exactamente, el
These are
constante
part of
asedio
the
que
West
mantienen
Bank.
sobre la Franja de
Well,
Gaza
the
en particular.
permanent siege
También
they have
implica
over the West
el
Bank.
asedio por mar y la toma de los recursos
And they're
palestinos.
taking
Limita a
over
los
the
habitantes de
resources of
Gaza
Palestine.
no pasar de cierto número de millas, por ejemplo.
Exactamente, incluso limita su actividad económica
In
sobre
fact,
su
it
propio mar
limits their
a la
own
explotación pesquera, cuando
their
es un
own
mar
progress.
rico
Because
también
let's
en
not
gas
forget that this
natural.
is a very
Incluso se
rich
podría
sea.
hablar también de una explotación petrolera allí también. Entonces, ¿qué ocurre? Está tratando de hacer la misma expansión marítima
now they're trying to
hacia
do
las
the
aguas
same
territoriales en el
expansion
Líbano.
Pero ¿cómo
of
se
the-
vende a
of
nivel
the- in the
internacional?
waters near Lebanon.
Este conflicto es un conflicto limítrofe, pero bien decían los invitados que nos antecedían.
Well, as we
No es un
saw,
conflicto
our
limítrofe. En todo
previous
caso, sería un
guests,
conflicto
these are not
entre
just
el
boundaries
Líbano y
problems. These are
Palestina.
problems between
Porque es sobre la
Lebanon
Palestina
and
ocupada.
Palestine, because this is
Los
on
límites del
Palestinian
Líbano.
Sí,
occupied
bueno,
territory.
ocurre que
Pues con la Palestina ocupada, esos límites del Líbano.
Well,
sí, lo que ocurre también
what
en ese sentido
happens
es
in
que
this sense
luego de los acuerdos,
is that after the
luego de
agreements
los acuerdos establecidos por Yasser
that were
Arafat,
established by
en
Yasser
su momento,
Arafat at the moment,
1990, los acuerdos de Oslo de
and these
1993,
are in the 1993 Oslo
Palestina
agreements,
renuncia
Palestine
a una parte sustancial
gives
de
up to a
lo que fue su
substantial
territorio
part
histórico,
of what
y
was
ya
its
esto sería
historical
Israel en
territory,
este
and
caso.
now this is
Sin embargo,
Israel. However,
no existe un reconocimiento
there
de
is
Israel
not
por
a
parte del Líbano.
recognition of
¿Por qué? Porque
Israel on behalf of
Israel
Lebanon,
también
because
ha sido una postura histórica de parte de los países árabes el
this
no
has been a
reconocer
historical
a
posture
este
not
país.
to
Los únicos que
recognize this
mantienen,
country.
digamos, una relación,
The only one who has a
quizá
relationship
más normalizada con
that
el-
is
con ellos son
normal
sus principales vecinos,
are
Jordania y
their
Egipto,
are their
pero, claro, luego de
neighbors,
más de
Jordan
3
and
guerras,
Egypt. But well, after
con
more than
Jordania.
3
Punto
years,
Palestina, digamos que renuncia a estos territorios bajo una postura
so well,
de yugo, ¿no? Estaba
Palestine,
subyugada.
yes, gave up
Sí,
on
es que
these
precisamente
on these
fueron
territories, but
fueron
was
unos
it
acuerdos
legitimately?
impuestos desde la administración Clinton,
Let's not
en
forget
los
these
cuales
were
se,
imposed agreements by
obliga
Clinton
a los palestinos a
administration
sentarse
where
a
they
la paz.
obligated the
Y sin embargo, a
Palestinians to
pesar de
sit at
haber
the table
renunciado a
and
estos
sign.
territorios,
And
Israel
regardless
continúa
of
su
the fact
expansión
that
en
they
los
gave
territorios
up
que
on these territories,
supuestamente se había comprometido
Israel
a respetar
keeps
como palestinos, que son Cisjordania y
keeps
Gaza. Ahora
on
concretamente se
going
anexaron
on the
Jerusalén,
territories that
se
Israel
anexa partes de
himself
Cisjordania y
itself
continúan las
recognized
anexiones bajo
belong to
Netanyahu.
Y
Palestine.
tocando el tema de Jerusalén, Estados Unidos lo apoya
And
trasladando su
Jerusalem-
embajada a ese lugar.
Sí,
Yes,
esto es
well,
lo más,
Jerusalem,
lo más
the
destacable
United
de aquí.
Claro,
States
legitima, más que apoyar.
Exacto, la administración Trump
legitimizes
se dedica
the-
actualmente a tratar
the
de
capital as being
solucionar el conflicto
as being
de
Lebanese
Oriente
by
Medio, pero en
putting
realidad
their-
esto no es un discurso
their
dirigido hacia los
embassy
países de Oriente
in
Medio, es un
Jerusalem.
discurso dirigido hacia que el yerno de Trump, el señor
And
Jared
this is
Kushner,
because
logre
the
el
son-in-law
predominio sobre
of
los
Jared
lobbies sionistas,
Kushner
logre una posición de predominio.
has
Es
a
una
¿Quién es
posición-
Jared
domination.
Kushner? Es importante repasar
Let's
este
let's
perfil
recall
para que
who Jared
Sí,
Kushner is.
exactamente, el yerno de Trump.
Well,
Además,
Trump's
quien
son-in-law,
quien
who
está
is
detrás
behind
del supuesto plan de acuerdo del
of this
siglo.
alleged
Además, uno de sus principales
agreement of the century, is
Exactamente,
one
y
of
de
his main
de origen
advisors.
judío, exacto,
He's
sionista,
of
Kushner es
Jewish
su apellido.
descent.
De
His
hecho,
last name is Kushner, in
lo
fact.
que está detrás,
And
Trump
what's
está
behind
utilizando
is that
a la administración
Trump
estadounidense,
is
Trump está
using
utilizando el
the
aparato
government
gubernamental para sus fines
organizations
personales,
for his own
para
personal
su propia
for
impronta
his
personal
personal
dentro de
benefit.
lo que es el lobby sionista.
la misma Ivanka Trump, la hija de Trump, que tiene
Yeah,
también una
Ivanka
responsabilidad
Trump
dentro de la
herself.
Casa Blanca, responsabilidad que muchos se cuestionan qué hace ahí, bueno, también fue
She
convertida al
too
judaísmo
was-
para casarse con su yerno.
She too became, she
Exactamente. Sin embargo,
went to
esto
Judaism
lo
to
tenemos
get
que ver
married
como
with
una
her
acción de
husband.
propaganda, como una acción
This
de
is like
imposición
a
particular
imposition
por parte de Trump para
Trump
lograr el predominio sobre el
try to
poderoso
have a-
lobby sionista.
Exactamente.
Y
the
se trata de
domination
ello, o
over the
sea,
Zionist
es necesario
policies.
separar muy bien lo que es
So
el
it's
lobby
important
sionista,
to
que está formado
divide
no
what
solamente
the
por judíos
Zionist
de Estados Unidos,
countries
sino
are.
también por
Jewish
fundamentalistas protestantes, que son
US
los que
people, and
mantienen, digamos, el gran apoyo hacia el
fundamental
Partido
fundamental
Republicano y hacia
people
las
from all
políticas
around the world.
conservadoras e expansionistas de Trump.
Y ya usted va viendo cómo este
And as
análisis
you can
va saliendo
see,
de las
this
costas del
analysis
Mediterráneo para llegar un poco más a Estados Unidos de América. Un
goes
país
from
que
one
está
coast to
en
another.
momento preelectoral.
This is a country that is,
Entonces,
the
¿cuánto
US
rédito
is a
pudiera
country
sacar
that
de
is,
aquí
has
el
the upcoming
presidente Trump,
elections?
que se lanza a
And
la
let's see
reelección,
how much benefit
pidiendo
he
justamente
could
ese
he
lobby
get
sionista apoyando
if
maniobras como estas de
he
Israel
supports
en
these
sus
type of
límites con,
maneuvers
el
and
Líbano.
in
Sí,
Israel.
la administración Trump
Well,
juega a dos posturas.
The Trump
Una,
administration
la
plays
venta
at two
ante el
fronts.
lobby sionista y ante
One
las
is the
partes
Zionist
más
lobby,
conservadoras de su
and with the most
puntos de
conservative
apoyo,
parts
de
of his
el
party,
apoyo irrestricto hacia Israel. Y, actualmente se está
and
negociando
the
incluso un
other is
tratado de
the
alianza
unrestricted
que
support to
coloque
Israel.
más formalmente todo este apoyo,
to
todo este apoyo de
Palestine.
Estados Unidos, que Estados Unidos históricamente le ha brindado a Israel. Pero aparte, Estados Unidos quiere
But
tratar
apart,
de
the
retomar
United
esa
States
posición
wants
que
to take
intentó
up
tener
this position
a
that they
partir del
tried
final
to
de la Guerra
have
Fría de
after the
mediador en
Cold
los
War
conflictos
as
de
a
Oriente Medio,
mediator
que
in the
actualmente
conflicts
haciéndose mediador
of the
a favor
Middle
de Israel.
East.
exactamente, siempre.
But of course,
El
it's
problema
not
que
a,
hay con Estados
this
Unidos es que como
mediator
tiene
is always on
esa
the
visión
side
doble de
of Israel.
su política excepcionalista dirigida hacia su propio público, hacia los fundamentalistas de su propio público, donde no se puede atacar a Israel en Estados Unidos sin ser
Let's not forget that you cannot
satanizado.
attack
No se puede cuestionar las políticas
attack
las
United
políticas
States and
sionistas,
Israel.
por muy duras que sean. No se pueden cuestionar por una situación que hay de una imposición
because
cuasi
there is
religiosa sobre lo que
there's
es
an
la estructura del
imposition.
gobierno de Estados Unidos. Y por otro lado, la búsqueda de Estados Unidos de
And on
mantener
the
esa
other
posición
hand,
de hegemón a nivel mundial que implicaría el ser la policía, el ser
On the other hand, that
el
the United
centro,
States wants
digamos,
to be
de
the
lo que es
police
las negociaciones.
of the
Exactamente.
the
Sin
world
embargo,
police.
está perdiendo,
However,
por ejemplo,
they're
en Medio
losing
Oriente está
in the
perdiendo
Middle
mucho
East
esa posición
this
frente
position
a Rusia. Rusia
because
sí se ha
Russia
establecido
now
como
has a
un
stronger
socio
position.
mucho más confiable a
They're
través
much
de
more
lo que
trustworthy.
fue en un principio los acuerdos de Astana, la
¿Confiable
negociación.
por qué?
Porque
And they're
precisamente
much more
Rusia
reliable
logra
because Russia is
lo que no
able
logra Estados Unidos, que es
to do something
poder
that the
sentarse
US
con
was not
todos los
able to do,
actores y poder
which is to
tener la
sit down
confianza
with
de
all of
actores
the
que
actors
incluso
and
están
have
enfrentados
the
entre sí,
trust of
como
all
lo
of them,
pueden ser
even
Arabia
with
Saudita,
members
Turquía,
that are
Siria o
confronted
Irán.
among
Todos
each
ellos
other.
pueden sentarse sin problemas
And
con
they can all sit
Rusia, e
with
incluso
Russia.
Israel, cosa que
And
no,
this
puede,
is
que no pasa en
Israel
el caso
too.
de Estados Unidos. Estados Unidos, al establecer
This
una
normally
política
doesn't
al
happen.
apoyar directamente una política anti-iraní y al presionar para que sus
And
socios
now
de Oriente Medio se unan en una especie de alianza
These
anti-iraní,
allies,
que es el proyecto MESA,
Exactamente.
ellos tratan en
what
este
they try
sentido
to
de
do
a la vez ser mediadores, pero a la vez
is
dirigir
to
una
be
especie de
mediators
pequeña
and
guerra
at the
fría
same
dentro de la
time
región,
direct
dirigida
a
contra Teherán.
so-called
Y en este
small
sentido,
Cold War
les preocupa
in the Middle East. And in this sense, they're
los
worried
contactos que hay dentro
about
de
the
parte del
contacts that there
sistema
exist
político
within
libanés,
the
dentro de parte de
Lebanese
los partidos políticos libaneses para
Lebanese
para
political
con Irán,
system
y también todo lo
with
que es la
Iran
repercusión de la derrota
and
del
the
Estado Islámico, que es
repercussion
el
of
fortalecimiento
the
de
Islamic
Siria
State.
y de Irak, no solamente como países soberanos, sino
In any
también
case,
como aliados de Irán, que es un país que
they
sí
are
los apoyó
allies of
directamente y con
of
respeto a
Israel
su
who
soberanía
did
en la
respect
lucha
them.
contra este ente generado en gran parte por
And a great
un
part there
apoyo
was a
soterrado desde Occidente.
Soberanía es la palabra con la que me voy a quedar a Jean Paul en este
Sovereignty,
último
this is the
momento
last
del
word that we're
análisis.
going to
¿Cuánto se está
hold on
jugando-
to? How much is
jugando, digo
being
mejor,
at
el Líbano
risk
en términos de soberanía, no
in
solamente
terms of sovereignty,
frente a este
not
conflicto
only
que
in this
está
conflict
presentándose con Israel, sino
and with
además
Israel,
con la apertura
but also with
a
the
la
opening
inversión extranjera con
of
compañías. Lo
foreign
estábamos reflexionando
investments
con
with
los otros
some other
invitados
companies.
hace
We were
minutos.
reflecting
Compañías,
this
de la talla de PT,
before.
la Total francesa, hay una italiana también en juego.
There's several companies there.
Sí, ocurre que
Well,
precisamente
it so
estas
happens
compañías
that
permiten
these companies
la
allow
explotación.
the exploitation.
El Líbano tiene que
Lebanon
estar el gobierno del Líbano mucho más concentrado en
must
cuáles
be much
serían
more
los,
concentrated
digamos, los términos
on
de esa
what are the
cooperación con las
terms of
compañías.
this
Sin embargo, más
collaboration.
allá de esta negociación que es
However,
soberana de parte del Líbano, yo quisiera concluir
I would like to
sobre todo
conclude
con un análisis sobre la
with
política
an
interna del Líbano.
analysis of the internal
Actualmente
policies of
existen
Lebanon.
dos grandes
Currently,
alianzas, dos
there are
grandes
two
coaliciones de
big-
partidos, la alianza del 14 de marzo y la alianza del 8 de
big
marzo. Ambas pueden
alliances
darse la mano
Both
en la
of
defensa
these
de la soberanía
can
del
be
Líbano,
used
en
in
la
the
defensa de
sovereign,
la
in the
riqueza del
defense
Líbano,
of the richness of
frente al
Lebanon
intento injerencista por parte de la entidad sionista.
to confront the
Jean Paul,
Israeli
un
country.
millón de gracias por haberte acercado
Thank you
a los
very
estudios de
much for
Telesur
being with
y
us
ayudarnos a entender un
and
poco
help
de
us
qué
to
va
understand a little bit
esta
more
madeja,
on
en
how
la
this
zona del
unravels.
Oriente Medio. Trazamos conclusiones entonces.
Let's go to conclusion.
Ya lo veíamos.
As we saw,
Una simple disputa
a simple
por límites
dispute
marítimos,
for
o
marine
pasa también por
borders,
el temor
or
de un
is
Estado
this,
con un prontuario
does
lleno
this
de
also
agentes
have
campeos en
something in the
territorios
background?
en el Oriente Medio, muy al estilo de la
This
expansión
comes very
territorial de
much
Estados
in
Unidos
the
hacia el oeste
style of the
norteamericano.
expansion that the
¿Por qué
United
esta
States
mudez, además de organismos
normally does?
internacionales,
Why
frente a
are so
este
many
pulso
organisms
político?
quiet about
Razones
this
tienen los
respect?
libaneses para
Well,
dormir con un ojo
Lebanese
abierto y el otro
are
cerrado, teniendo un
are
vecino en
wise to
batalla de Israel. ¿No cree
sleep
usted?
with one eye open.
Cerramos por hoy el tablero.
Let's
Finalizamos
close this for
jugando.
today. See you tomorrow.